There once was a frog who was raised by his mommy and daddy. He had many siblings who kept him company. However, one day, as he was going on an adventure all by himself, he found himself in a new forest with no one around. He knew he was lost and started to hop around in a panic. This panic caused him to hop too high and hit a tree branch. He fell unconscious, and when he awoke, he was surrounded by some deer, bunnies, squirrels, and chipmunks. He was a little frightened because he wasn't sure if these were friends or foes. He knew the deer, bunnies, and squirrels were all friendly in his neighborhood of the forest, but he wasn't sure about this neighborhood of the forest. However, they hadn't eaten him yet, so how bad could they be? So he took a chance and said, "Hi." The deer, bunnies, squirrels, and chipmunks all just looked at him. The frog thought maybe they spoke a different language, but then the bunny finally said hi back and helped him onto his 4 legs. The deer said, "Are you lost?" The frog said, "Yes, I am. I'm not sure where my home with my mom, dad, brothers, and sisters are." The deer responded, "Well, if you have nowhere to go and don't want to wander around the forest aimlessly, since it's about to get dark, we have a home which is warm and has food and water. You are more than welcome to come join us on our journey back." The frog was hesitant. All he wanted to do was get home to his family. He was feeling extremely homesick, lonely, scared, and fearful of the fact that he might never find his way home. But he saw no other option, besides maybe getting eaten by some other creepy crawly creatures in the forest that weren't as nice as his new friends. So he took the deer up on his offer. They all went off into the forest, hopping, walking, and singing along. They arrived at a cave shortly after and were greeted by the parents of the deer. They introduced themselves and said it was so nice to have another one of Anna's friends staying with them. The frog thought, deer must be named Anna, and they must all live together in this cave. What a nice, cozy family. The frog looked around and noticed it was a nice, large cave with some brush on the ground where he assumed everyone slept, as well as a pile of berries on the ground he assumed everyone could eat. Once he saw the berries, he realized he was very hungry. So he asked the deer parents if he could have some berries. They said, "What's ours is yours." He hopped over to the pile and started to eat. He was so consumed with eating, he didn't even realize that there was a loud noise coming from across the way. When his hunger was finally sated, he looked over and noticed the most beautiful waterfall he had ever seen, and then looked down and noticed the most beautiful creek he had ever seen. The others noticed him looking at the creek and said, "Jump in, we will join you." So he jumped and had the time of his life. This was only one of the many adventures that the frog got to go on with his new friends. He went diving into the waterfall many times. He ventured out of the cave to search for berries that he loved. He chased his friends around the forest. He had story time where he learned so many new things about his new friends and the amazing adventures that they got to go on. He hopped his way across a high-flowing river. He had many, many adventures, but was sad whenever he thought about his family. One day, the frog was hopping around with his friends in a new part of the forest that they didn't normally go to. He stumbled across another frog. When he looked closely, he noticed it was his brother Bob. He hopped over and gave his brother the biggest hug. Bob was confused and said, "Hey man, what are you doing?" The frog said, "Bob, it's me, your brother." And finally, Bob saw him for who he was and hugged him back and said, "We have been looking everywhere for you. Mom and Dad were worried sick." The frog said, "I met some new friends, and we have been going on so many new adventures. It's been amazing." Bob responded, "That's so cool, bud, but it's time to come back home and come to your family and do your family duties." The frog looked back to his friends that he loved, and then looked to his brother that he loved, and realized what he had to do. He had to say goodbye to his friends that he had just met and go back to his family. He had an amazing time with adventures, but now it was time to go home to do his family duties. So he hopped on over to his friends, gave them all hugs, and said, "I will see you guys again. Come over to this part of the forest anytime and we can play. I'll even bring my brothers and sisters along so you can meet them." He hopped back home where his family greeted him with all the hugs and love in the world, and he felt like he wasn't alone for the first time since he left his home. He felt like he was finally home. And the frog lived happily ever after with his family and deer, bunny, squirrel, and chipmunk friends who visited often.